Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at energy fuels. It is time for another update, and today we'll be discussing the structure, the correction that has been forming here in this area to the downside, mostly as expected. And we will be discussing as well the relevant resistance levels for a signal that this pattern to the downside is likely over itself, at least this as a singular wave. But before we get there, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are basically tracking a large 1-2 setup where now we would expect to form a third wave to the upside. Now, for this to be a valid and reliable wave 3, we would need here to reach the ideal target of such a movement, the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, which is around the $130 level. I may have not drawn that perfectly, which is why we see a small price difference, but it is around the $128, $130 level, around that area anyway. And now, since we have already formed the likely largest part of this rally, this could still work out in a fifth wave that could get to those levels, but I have to say it isn't necessarily a very likely interpretation. If we actually even manage to get here within a fifth wave, we could work it out. It could work out as an actual wave 3 top within a fifth wave, but I could also allow an extension that would allow something like a double 1-2-1-2 setup, and this could be a wave 3 itself. And we will see that if we get to it, we will see what type of structure we should be tracking, but most likely, in terms of probability, we need to be prepared that this structure would not necessarily achieve getting here to the ideal target within the wave 3, and in that case, we would need to be prepared for different interpretations, and this is probably more in line with the broader market, where, right now, we can easily expect across many stocks for still another high. Some of them may not get another high, some of them may only get a more significant relief rally, but such a movement is still allowed. In fact, on this chart, it is even probable, rather than not, to build another wave to the upside, But if we don't manage to get here to the wave 3 target, we would need to be prepared that this could be either a double 1-2-1-2 setup that could form, this could be another wave 1, a wave 1 of a larger wave 3 to the upside, and that would in fact have quite bullish implications, but it would require us to have a more significant correction before getting to those targets anyway. But then, realistically, we also need to be very much aware an ABC movement would be in play at that point, where in fact the ideal target for the wave C would be the 100% extension of the wave A, which is something very much achievable for such a wave 5, That would be, in fact, very much a perfect pattern within a correction of a larger downtrend that could be forming, that could have a few suggestions in of itself. Now, we won't go through all of them, we won't go into every single detail in this video, and instead I want to focus here on this internal structure where, again, the likely, or not necessarily the likely, but the largest part of this rally is expected to be done, The fifth wave can be quite strong, especially as part of a larger wave 3, but it doesn't need to be, and realistically, within such a large extension of the wave 3, I don't necessarily expect extensions within it of itself. We already have quite a substantial correction within this wave 4, and I'm looking here with high probabilities for a fifth wave to the upside as long as we hold here the levels of support between the $17.6 all the way down to the $8.6 level. Although already here, if we break the 50% retracement, the $10.7 level, it would be a first warning sign that this structure might not necessarily get that additional high. But at this point, we have a 3-wave move to the downside within this correction in a wave 4. I am tracking this as an ABC movement. This is the most likely interpretation in my opinion, where honestly, even if we form within this area a direct low, I would probably consider it as part of a larger ABC movement than a 5-wave extension to the downside within this area. It is possible we may need to be watching out for such a pattern and such resistance levels anyway, if we really form a direct movement to the downside. But right now, I would prefer just a larger correction within this yellow interpretation, where, so far we have pushed here perfectly into the 38.2% retracement before getting this larger rejection, And not only that, we only have here a 3-wave move to the upside, perfectly into the area of resistance, which could easily suggest that this movement within a correction could be complete. Now in blue we are of course tracking possible extensions higher, and yeah, this movement is still very much in play. Nothing really unexpected happened here on this chart since the previous video, and even though we did break here above this area of resistance, this was an area for the most, or an area for the count with the most bearish interpretation, but at the same time that could have allowed a decently early completion, although even in the previous video we were looking here for lower prices, ideally into the 61.8% retracement, and yeah, we have achieved those. We have opened basically yesterday into those levels, and then we have extended even lower today basically. Or was that yesterday? I can't even remember. But yeah, we extended even lower and basically retested the larger time frame 38.2% retracement, which honestly, this is not uncommon at all. To have a larger correction occur, push below certain levels of resistance, have the movement to the upside, the reversal, break above them, and then have a retest of those levels is actually quite common and something I actually enjoy seeing, and I do find as a positive sign, in fact. Now within this area, to have a better overview of what really happened, well, I am at the moment, or I need to be at the moment, tracking something like a 1, 2, 3, where this would be a larger ending diagonal within the wave C. So we are still tracking here a wave C within this larger wave B in blue, but I would need to consider this probably some sort of a slightly different scenario where this would be a diagonal structure. So I could allow this to extend all the way up to this high for a 1, 2 setup, and then yeah, we would be perfectly into the 61.8% retracement. But honestly, even if I leave the area of resistance for what we had in the previous video here and consider this a 1, 2, 3, it would still be just fine to consider this resistance area as unbroken. Now, there are still quite a few scenarios within which we could still be tracking lower extensions, although right now I do see a possible completion of this pattern to the downside. And honestly, I have more than one scenario that could allow this to work out as a wave C. It is not pretty in any of them, yeah, to be honest. Yeah, let's be clear. This is pretty much an ABC movement. Then we had an ABC movement, yeah, not even that, an WXY correction up here. And this could work out as a 5-wave move to the downside within the wave C. But honestly, this could also work out as an ABC movement itself. Yeah, probably works something best like a 1, 2, an ABC in the wave 3, and then a 4th and then a 5th in this area. And I have to say, in that scenario, we have a full pattern. We don't need any additional lows to form a more significant bottom within this wave C that would complete this wave B. So technically we are, and we should be prepared for a reversal to come. Although, if this isn't the case, we need to be aware of possible extensions. Now, so far within this movement to the downside, it is clearly not an impulse that has formed, and not only that, yeah, let's remove some of those resistance levels though, just to make it more visible. But on top of that, for this ABC movement, we have barely pushed here beyond the 100% extension of the wave A. Yeah, we did push a little bit below it, but nothing too significant. And this does not qualify in any case for a wave 3. And on top of that, yeah, we only have an ABC movement, or something like ABC probably, that played out within this initial wave A to the downside, and nothing is extremely suggestive of further continuation lower. But with that said, I have a couple of scenarios that could allow such a pattern as well. So this could work out as something like a larger wave A within a leading diagonal that could be a 1, 2, and then this could work out as an ABC movement that could still extend even lower. Now in such cases, here we would be watching out for the resistance levels, and we will be tracking this in yellow between the $14.4 all the way up to the $15.4 level. Now, if we want to track even a more holistic approach to the levels of resistance, we could be tracking this as an initial wave A, then we get a larger wave B, and then a wave C to the downside. Well, the resistance area would shift slightly higher, where we would be watching instead the 78.6% retracement at the $15.9 level. But this shouldn't be any significant difference. We will need to be patient in the end, because from a small time frame perspective, this structure is extremely unreliable. We have a 3-wave move to the upside, we have a 3-wave move to the downside, we have choppy structures in both directions basically, and honestly, while I probably still prefer the blue interpretation, I don't necessarily see a reliable internal trade setup for now. Yeah, sure, we still have here the area of support in blue that is somewhat interesting, but from the larger time frame perspective, what is really interesting is here the larger area of support that is between the $17.6 all the way down to the $8.6, the area of support for the larger wave 4, which again, it could have easily bottomed. We have enough waves to the downside. We have pushed deep enough into the area of support. The correction within the wave 4 is substantial enough in terms of proportions to the wave 2, and we have retested basically the 38.2% retracement. So if not for something in the short term, this is an interesting area for me in terms of accumulation. And for now, if we really want to go here into the small time frame, honestly, not much too reliable could be tracked within this area. We may be forming here a potential ascending triangle, and those do have the higher probability to break to the upside. Yeah, another signal we may want to watch, although yeah, not many touch points are yet in place for such a triangle. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't even track this low, but honestly, in such a small time frame, distortions happen all the time, and it isn't something we should be tracking actively or overly. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.